Come on, it's fun. Just one more car. Come on, man. Come on.
All right, just one more. Oh, gross.
Hello, my fellow enthusiasts. Welcome back to another video. Yesterday, I talked about the dungeon train. Well, today I'm going to be talking about the episode itself, what the lesson behind it was, and how it was crucial to Finn's character development. So for those of you who do not know, the reason why Finn was so depressed in this particular episode was due to the fact that he just had the major issue with Flame Princess just a couple episodes prior. And what made this episode so interesting to me is due to the fact that it basically tackles a very interesting issue, specifically when it comes to the concepts of addiction as well as escapism. For one thing that I heavily enjoy when it comes to this episode is that it's not immediately Finn that causes it. It's actually Jake who is partially responsible for his descent, mainly because he genuinely had good intentions. Finn was down in the dumps and he thought he needed a quick distraction in order to basically get away from his problems temporarily. The problem is that escapism is an incredibly powerful force, because one thing that we are in terms of being human is actively avoiding the sense of pain. So when he was able to feel some sense of joy and excitement within the dungeon train in comparison to the depression that was outside, he almost immediately began to become addicted to the sensation, much in the same way that some people are addicted to video games or some kind of drug. But this especially applies when it comes to video games, because one thing that Finn says is that things make sense here when asked to leave. I feel as though this little bit is glossed over simply due to the fact that it's basically just a quick saying, but at the same time, this is actually incredibly important to the episode because things make sense here is exactly how many people view video games. Due to the very way life is actually presented, it is very hard to think about what could happen next. It's uncertain, and that uncertainty is incredibly scary, which is why people have a tendency to absolutely envelop themselves in either video games or some other distraction, because it's simple. You know that you can succeed, and this knowledge that you can succeed is addicting because you absolutely understand it and it gives you control. The problem with this is that people absolutely get completely mixed in with the simplicity of it and begin to isolate themselves either from others or from new experiences that could enrich their lives. The bosses within this train are a perfect example of this. They have absolutely lost themselves to the train and refuse to leave. They are quite literally so ingrained in the loop that they will keep going until they die. And it especially gets bad because we see in Finn that as this progresses, they continuously become worse and worse. Hell, he literally attacked Jake and stole all of his loot. In an effort to distract himself and not interact with his problems, he actively became a worse person. Now, the reason why this is so ingrained into his character development, in my personal opinion, is because in a lot of ways, this exact habit is what caused him to originally create the problem with Flame Princess in the first place. The entire reason originally that the whole Flame Princess incident happened was because he was actively seeking pleasure and reward in regards to what he wanted rather than doing what was right, which eventually resulted in him becoming a worse person as he actively manipulated those around him in order to get that reward. It was only after seeing Jake stood by him even after 80 years in the future despite having done everything wrong that he finally realizes his own mistake. My personal interpretation of this episode is that it's basically commentary regarding escapism, addiction, and reflection. By actively distracting yourself from your main problems and not reflecting on them, you are depriving yourself of the knowledge that can be gained by understanding what caused that sadness in the first place. And by not reflecting and understanding the main core of it, you will be more subject to the addiction because that's all that could really help you, at least in your mind. Despite on the outside, it's pretty apparent that it is actively destroying you. By the end of the episode, Finn was quite literally a bad guy. He was a boss on the train. But it also shows that with the right support, as well as reflecting on one's problems, they actually can get past that addiction in the first place, and ultimately discern the difference between just harmless fun and a full-blown addiction. As Finn decides to stay on the train a little bit longer, but at the same time, he understands that it is time for him to get off eventually. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and thank you so much to my patrons. This is my personal interpretation, but I'm sure a good chunk of you probably have your own, in which case leave it down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye.